Welcome to the Mental Health Podcast. I'm Kevin Frankish. When I first planned this episode about giving good mental health gifts, I had a pretty good idea of the direction I had hoped things would go on, and I could think of no better guest to talk to about all things shopping than my good friend Rita DeMontis. For years, Rita was the lifestyle editor for Sun Media and the quintessential shopping expert. An all-around nice woman. As you are about to hear and see for yourself, she didn't disappoint in that aspect. However, after reviewing our conversation, I couldn't help but realize that Rita, unknowingly, had changed the well-planned focus of this episode. You see, Rita is also a caregiver, caring for her husband who is in the throes of cognitive decline, like so many. My friend Rita is always confident. She spreads joy wherever she goes. What I saw, and you are about to see, is a person more vulnerable, more, let's say, unguarded than I've ever known her to be. I know for a fact that Rita is not in any way looking for pity, nor do I want to give her any, but turns out she is speaking for a growing caregiver population, doing what they do out of love and necessity. But there is a limit to the human spirit, and many caregivers are at or near burnout. There are millions of caregivers in Canada and the US, so no doubt you know one or a few. I'm asking you do what I did. Stop and really listen to these caregiving angels. What can we give them, even for a moment, to lighten their load? Good mental health gifts, right now on the Mental Health Podcast. Oh, lovely, Rita. It is beautiful to be with you again.
It's amazing to be with you again, Kevin. We go way back. We have such a incredible friendship. It goes back decades when you think about it. And always positive and always so profound. So much fun.
It's always been fun. You've dragged me through many a darkened alleyway to get to some abandoned warehouse in the baddest part of town. You are a professional shopper.
I certainly am. I made a career of it.
And the best at it. So I could think of nobody better to talk to me about gifting for the holidays when it comes to mental health. And we're talking about it could be for someone's personal mental health journey. It could be for a caregiver. It could just simply be giving calm to someone. And you are especially designed for this, or you are especially made for this because you are a caregiver yourself.
Yes, I am. I've been caregiving my husband for 14 years, but the last 4 years have been his most challenging. So my husband suffered a series of strokes 14 years ago, and slowly his cognitive thinking has deteriorated. He has been formally diagnosed with Lewy body, vascular dementia, as well as medically induced Parkinson's disease. So, the last few years have been very, very challenging. In fact, I actually resigned my position after 47 years with the Toronto Sun to be his caregiver. I get to freelance for them, which is wonderful, and I get to freelance for magazines and do all sorts of crazy things. I even did some commercials. And I appeared in a very low budget film shot in Toronto. I played an Italian nonna. Wow, typecasting all over. But I did that for my own mental well-being, of course. And I love writing. I can't give up my career, my writing, but I do take care of Mario 24/7. And it is an interesting journey, let me tell you.
It must be. And as a caregiver, you know the importance of taking care of yourself.
Yeah, and you forget that. As a caregiver, it's one of the things that you kind of forget about, your own mental well-being, and recognizing the signs that perhaps you're going down a rabbit hole that you shouldn't be. Things like, I'm not sleeping. Gee, I wonder why. And addressing it. And, looking for the elephant in the room. Being a caregiver, you have to deal with a variety. I mean, the holidays are a difficult time regardless. People deal with the bills and the price of food, and perhaps they're not getting along with the family and they're estranged or they're breaking up. or a million things. They're grieving loved ones that passed away. Add to that someone who you've lost but still lives in your life. And I think that's the biggest challenge of all. It is challenging, it's lonely, it's frustrating. I've had to deal with not only frustration, but like the why me, but then why not me? Who am I? I'm not special. And I think that grounds you. I think the importance is grinding yourself, like grounding yourself. Grinding is for another discussion, obviously, but
Yeah. And the
but
other thing
it's
too is it's the holidays. It's supposed to be a time of happiness and joy and family and sharing. So that throws another weight on the shoulders of caregivers.
I won't. The sad part is I haven't celebrated Christmas or New Year's with Mario in the last few years. He doesn't recognize the holidays. I've decorated my home. I love Christmas. I'm a Christmas person. I have more bling in my room, in my home. I have more fairy lights. I put up tons of trees and goodies and things like that. I'm making Christmas cookies this afternoon, and yet he doesn't recognize one thing. Daisy doesn't even recognize me.
Well,
So
all of our thoughts
yeah.
are with you, and sending as much support your way as I can. And so I think with that in mind, you were able to do some searching for items that are going to relieve someone's mental health or at least ease it. So where do you want to start? Where do you want to start?
It's funny. We spoke about this. What do I think that people like me, and there's thousands of us out there, what would I want? I want the gift of time to myself. If I was to give, gifts to a caregiver, I would think in terms of come on over and help me clean my house, or let me go out and just spend an hour by myself, having coffee by myself. So I don't lose my identity per se. Instead of being Mario's caregiver, I'm still Rita DeMontis. I'm thinking in terms of gifts that I personally would purchase for caregivers in general. I would, when was the last time you went to the theater or a movie? When was the last time you had dinner out? When was the last time you went and had a mani-pedi? It sounds frivolous, but it's just an amazing gift to give someone because it helps them reestablish, what is important, which is the everyday, the routine, the daily routines. So I love gifts to give and I love gifts to receive, but the gifts that I look for now are they're not tangibles. They're not like, oh, this is a beautiful perfume. I love the socks. I could always use an extra set of, appliances, small appliances. But what I look for are things that will give me back lost time or stolen time in a way. And also give me the gift of listening to me because that's the hardest thing. All I know now is my little world of taking care of someone. And I worry sometimes that's all I talk about. My good friends and my family, they reassure me it's okay. It's what we do. We listen. I think the gift of listening is one of the greatest gifts of all because we're not going anywhere with this disease. It is a horrible, horrible disease because my husband is such a brilliant man. I mean, we would watch Jeopardy. He knew all the answers. He still watches Jeopardy and he laughs and he points, but he doesn't understand anything anymore. So if that's one gift I can ask people for, it's the gift of listening, because that's one of the
that
most
could come in
profound
the
gifts.
form of a gift certificate, or you could make up
Yeah,
your own gift
you can make up
certificates.
your own gift certificates. Here, let me come over and let's go grocery shopping, or let me come over and I'll keep you company, or let's go to a movie, or I'm signing you up for a massage or a mani pedi, which is quite a lovely indulgence. Other things like taking a pottery class or taking a cooking class. Or just, sort of like a distraction gifts, they're called, because they're tangibles. You can do it. And we'll find the time for it. If we will stay here for you and you go and have this, mani pedi, or I'm going to take you out for lunch. If you like grocery shopping, that's exactly what we'll do. Or if you want to go buy a gift for yourself, that's exactly what we'll do. So that's what I look for now. And I think as time goes on, tangible gifts. Sorry, my cat just came to say hello.
Hello, cat.
Hello, Sebastian. How about you? How do you feel about gifts like that?
Well, I think it's something we can easily overlook. And when you said, "Oh, I think there might be hundreds of caregivers," no, you're wrong, Rita. There are millions of
Yeah,
caregivers in Canada, millions. So the
yeah,
chances are that somebody watching, listening right now, knows at least one caregiver, and
yeah.
we may want to wrap up some really nice perfume and put it under the tree for them. But what use is that if you have nowhere to go to use that perfume? So this is definitely food for thought for a caregiver, whether they're caregiving for an older person, a
Yeah.
partner, a spouse, a child. We need to recognize that maybe the gift of time is so incredibly valuable.
Absolutely. And little things like I live in a wonderful community in my condominium. I've been here since 1991. We've been here. And I've developed relationships and friendships that transcend, it's more than family now. Like my next door neighbor, Frank, I ask him, can you come over and help me put up Christmas lights? He's right there. He's got his ladder and he's got his creativity and we have a laugh. And then, we share a couple of cookies and we look at the work. And I think it's an amazing experience that I have friends in my life who do that. I went to Europe for my nephew's wedding in the summer. It was incredible. I hadn't been to Europe. Actually, it was my first vacation in decades because when I used to travel, it was for work. This was a wedding in Tuscany, in Siena.
Beautiful.
So my neighbors banded together to take care of Mario. So he was never alone, 24/7. Someone was coming in to feed him, feed my cats, making sure he took his meds, make sure he got to bed. They all had keys and they were all taking care of him. And I thought, well, and I had cameras in the house just to make sure he didn't fall or anything like that.
Your
Sebastian,
cat. I can
seriously?
hear the cat.
Hang on, he's going, Sebastian, get up. Out, come on. Just pause for a second. Come on,
Okay, we'll
come on,
pause
Pepper.
here right
No,
now.
you're not supposed to go
It's
there, honey. Come on.
it's
Here, come on.
amazing too because, like I said, we've known each other for a long,
Out.
long
Go on.
time,
Go on. Good boy.
and we realize now that time does move on. Now, Rita hasn't changed a bit,
Yeah.
not one little bit.
Oh yeah, I have changed. Trust me on it. Did you see that?
I did.
I'm ruled by cats, and
Okay,
yeah,
so
and that's another thing is pets are such healers. Like dogs and cats, hamsters, rabbits. They just supply. They're non-judgmental. You just have to
yeah,
feed them, care for them, and they reciprocate like tenfold.
and
So
they're not only great for the caregiver, they're great for the
the
caregiving,
ill person.
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And now,
absolutely.
it's not recommended you give dogs and cats for Christmas and things like that, or pets.
No, no.
But a certificate is fine to say, listen, I'm going to get you to choose a new cat, dog, parrot in February or midway through January is something once the Christmas rush has gone down.
Or how about this? Come with me. I'm a professional dog walker. I go walk dogs for the various humane societies, and I think that's so admirable. And a lot of people do it. Come with me. Spend the afternoon while I walk a couple of dogs, and then we can sit on a park bench and have a coffee. That's, I mean, they're little things, and they sound kind of like cliche-ish, but they're not.
Yeah,
You're taking someone out, giving them fresh air and company and listening and maybe just talking about nothing, the
and
latest fashions.
in this day and time when things are so expensive, this
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
cost anything except your time.
Absolutely. That's why time is just you can't measure time. And yet it makes for the most unbelievable gift. It's so profound when you think about it.
Okay,
So
let's move
yeah.
on now. We've talked a little bit about caregivers, but people in general with their mental health. About what are we thinking? What's on the shopping list?
Well, if you really like shopping, I mean,
I
I
do not.
I'm a shopaholic because
Yeah.
I like it. I like the sensation of going in and finding things on sale. and sharing it. Like I'm honest with people. I go, oh, you wouldn't believe what I found for this. And for mental health, I was thinking about it, and depending on, some people suffer severe anxiety. Some people suffer, they can't be in crowds, or the noise is too loud. And you can source out organizations, theaters even, where they accommodate this. They'll have, the lighting is a little lighter. They can accommodate wearing earmuffs for the noise, or recognizing people will run out of a theater. Like, these are little things, and there's small organizations that do take care of that. So I think it's, the first step is recognizing exactly what a person who is suffering with mental health issues has, and being prepared. Like, just saying, someone who doesn't really like leaving their home, making plans to take them out, and at the last minute, like, I'm going to take you out for dinner, and at the last minute they balk and said, I can't go out there. Bring dinner home, so you're still having the enjoyment of a dinner out, but the out is inside someone's safety net, which is their home. So little things like that. A lot of it is common sense, and a lot of it is just thinking it through. And it just depends on I think so many people today suffer from anxiety disorder, PTS, post-traumatic stress disorder, and it depends on the degree of the mental illness as well. Obviously,
I think
if
we
you're
have to
dealing,
remember as well, it's not just about a mental illness, it's about people's mental health in general, period.
exactly,
And the fact
exactly.
that, well, here's an idea. If you're buying something for somebody's kids, for their good or their mental health, don't buy them a drum set for the kids.
Exactly.
Maybe we should do a list
Don't,
of what not to buy.
drum sets. Oh, they did a list of the toys that came out in the 60s that, remember the clackers? They would
Yes. Oh, and
splinter and
anything that
take
made
out an
noise,
eye.
and yeah.
Darts. Remember darts?
Well, I mean, let's talk about teens, especially too, with their mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, in a day when we are teens basically are absorbed by tech, by social media, or simply with their AI chat friend.
Oh,
Let's talk a little
yeah.
bit about that. What should we be looking at for gifts for teens?
For teens, they have come out with some amazing line of, and I won't call them toys, but holiday products that challenge their mental capacities, their mental well-beings. At the same time, are not encouraging them to be isolated, let's say on their phones, or having a chat with an artificially created persona. So there's things that you do with friends. I know that there's products out there that play music, and you step on a mat and you dance to it.
Yeah, yeah, which
Those
have been
things are
around for a while,
amazing.
but it,
They're
it
bringing out
it's
the
it's
the
still
latest.
tech, which is
It
okay,
is tech.
but it's
Well, have you seen
actually
the new Tech Monopoly game?
no. And why
Yeah,
not?
apparently it's exactly. And
If you are going to play like maybe a tech chessboard game, so yes, you're playing tech, but you're still playing a game challenging your own mind.
exactly. That's why I'm a big Scrabble lover. I actually play Scrabble against the computer several times a day because it keeps your mind sharp. Scrabble is awesome. It
Yeah.
really, especially since the new words have been incorporated in it. Games like Monopoly, like board games, are unbelievable. And they continue, even the old ones like Clue and everything, they continue to be incredibly popular. So
Hmm.
board games are really, really hot, especially the updated board games. And games that test your skills and things like that, and include and involve other people so that you are not isolated and you're not alone. So those are really, really important ideas. And right now, there's so many sales taking place because the holidays are just coming up so quickly, and a lot of companies have to move their stock because they're already planning for next season's gift ideas, and that includes toys and things like that.
What else you got for good mental health that you can
Um,
encourage your friends, your family?
It's weird because I was discussing this with my nephew recently, and he has young children. And, I asked, what are the kids looking at and things like that. And I have always been a voracious reader, and I've always lost myself in good books. And I always bring up the Narnia series by C.S. Lewis, which transcends all age groups. It's a beautiful series. It started with The Magician's Nephew, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And even for a young child, you can read to them from the book. And the older you get, the more immersed you get and it's a beautiful fantasy in a sense. These children go through a wardrobe and find a completely different world, but it's the underlying message, what the book stands for. And the series is, I would think, a good book. When I was a kid, I used to read baseball biographies. I was like in grade 3, 4, and I loved reading the sports biographies because each one of them was a story of triumphing over adversity, and
Yeah.
I love that, and I learned so much. So they're all. I think what children are being robbed of is their ability to have,
And
to daydream, to
to
see their
an
fantasy.
imagination. Yeah.
Their imagination is being stifled because it's being done for them,
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
and
I
that's
know that.
sad.
I know for my partner's son, he's 9 years old, and I mean his mom has read to him forever, but now
Yeah.
he's getting a little bit older. It's not that time. So what I got him a Kindle, and it's
Wow,
so
that's a good idea.
wonderful. First of all, if you're going to buy a book, it's much cheaper to get on the Kindle than it is to actually go get the physical paperback or hardback. But now Storytime has been replaced by him and I laying back, me reading a book and him reading a book. And
That's
we find
wonderful.
that really special time before bedtime. So, and a Kindle is wonderful. It really, really is.
That's a great idea, and the prices of like Kindles and even iPads are affordable. So getting an iPad so where you can download games that you can do with someone else or challenge someone. Like I said, I play Scrabble and I can challenge my friends online, which I think
Yeah.
is great because you have that interaction at the same time. But the gift of words. I remember reading books when I was a kid and the passages come back to me.
Hmm.
There's a book I read in grade 5. It was The Outsiders, which
Hmm.
impacted on me so. S.E. Hinton, I think. That book is the everyman's book, the every person's book. And I loved it to the point where I asked my teacher, they should be teaching this book in school. And she laughed at me. Well, they do teach it in school now.
Yeah.
So, like, not things should be, they shouldn't shove things down your throat because they feel that you should be, it's just making kids aware that there is a whole world out there that they're missing out on. Buying, not everybody knows how to skate or rollerblade or go out in a park and go down a hill on freshly fallen snow. Those are wonderful gifts to give someone. I would love a gift. I used to skate when I was young. I would love to learn how to skate again
I thought you were
and
saying you wanted
rollerblade again.
toboggan again.
No, I don't. Well, tobogganing and I never really, really got off on a good start. Oh, it was ugly, man.
Is there a story
But the
there?
great outdoor.
Is there a tobogganing story? Is there a DeMontis tobogganing story?
No, I just no good tobogganing because there are really no big hills when I was growing up. However, we used to live on Davenport Road, and I like to tell people I grew up in the shadow of the castle, Castle Loma.
Hmm.
But there would be a pond across the street, and we would sneak in there, and my brothers and I was given secondhand skates by some neighbors of ours, and we all had secondhand skates. They were a gift like you wouldn't believe. And I
Yeah.
skated, and then we'd get cold, and we would learn not to get too close to where the ice was cracking, and it was wonderful. You'd skate, and then you'd come home, and your cheeks were fresh, and you felt fabulous. And and my mom would
Yeah.
make us hot chocolate, and then we sit together and not even watch TV. We were just sharing, like, wow, did you see that? We saw a rabbit, whatever. It sounds hokey, the Waltons. Yeah, maybe yes, but it led to a wonderful appreciation of my siblings. And I think that's really, really important. It takes you out of your comfort zone in a way. It makes you appreciate what really is important in your life.
My first pair of
So
skates I got for Christmas, and they
yeah,
were girls' white figure skates painted black. They were spray painted black, but I loved them. I loved them.
skating set you free. You always felt like you're flying. And I'll give you a quick anecdote. So one of my nephews, hockey is big in my family, like huge. One of my nephews is a retired professional hockey player. He played with the Yale team. And before that, he was with the Muskegon Lumberjacks. And then my other nephew, who is legally blind, he teaches, he works with various organizations. He teaches young children who are born blind or are visually challenged to skate. And when these kids hit the ice for the first time, he says they tell him things like, "I feel like I'm flying.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm flying." And I just think that's what skating does. Like, I mean, skating is our national treasure. Come to think of
yeah.
it. And when you see that, when you hear that, and you watch a game of blind hockey, it is an incredible experience. So things like that, the blind hockey, when they have their events, they're free to the public. Sign
Mhm.
up, watch what happens in a game. It will blow your mind. It's so incredible. So little
Um,
things like that. The
you,
city
you,
is full of freebies.
what do you think? As we're talking here, it's sort of hitting me. You use the word hokey, and I think sometimes we default to that, thinking, "Oh, you know what? A checkers game, that's kind of hokey, or a book, or." However, we bust our butts trying to find the latest tech, and then we lose our kids.
Yeah.
So it isn't hokey. It isn't
No,
hokey to remind the kids. Now, sure, this is not 1960, 1970, 1980 anymore, but at the same time, fun is fun.
oh, and the thing is, when you gather with your friends and your family, like when I was growing up, every either Christmas Eve, especially New Year's Eve, we'd pull out the Monopoly game and we'd play till like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah, remember those
And
days.
those were great
Yeah.
days. You'd have cookies and you'd be loud and you'd throw things and then before you know it was like 4 in the morning. It was time to go to bed. But I remember those days, and this took place decades ago, and with people that you loved and you shared. You can never get those back. Nowadays, you go to events, everybody's looking at their phone, which is so
Oh,
sad.
yeah.
What is so important in your life?
And maybe that's the bottom line of shopping for mental health. What
Hmm.
is most important in your life? Rita, thank you for
Exactly.
this. I wish you peace this holiday season.
Yep.
And I know you will find it. I know what kind of person you are. And you're able to see all the good around all the bad. So, thoughts with you, prayers, and have a very Merry Christmas.
And Kevin, to you, you're such a profound friend and a kind friend because you've never lost the empathy and the compassion and the kindness. And I think those are the key words for the holiday season. So may I take this opportunity to wish you a very, very merry Buon Natale, because I'm
Ah,
Italian, and a safe and happy new year to you and all your listeners.
ciao, Bella.
Ciao, 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 ciao. Lots of love.
Yeah, take my word for it. She is as beautiful in person as she is on the air, and I do honestly wish her so much peace. She said to me before, the best thing that she could ever have would be an uninterrupted 8 hours of sleep. So think about those in your life, whether they're caregivers, whether they are living with a mental illness, or just people. Everybody has mental health. We always keep emphasizing that, don't we? So what can you do that gives them some peace? So is it, an appointment for a massage? Is it a weighted blanket? Is it simply just showing that you care about their peace? You can get them a year of the Calm app, which I highly recommend. No, I don't get paid for them, but it's a really good app. Or there's a million other apps out there as well. There are, CBT classes, and you can learn CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. Anything that will bring peace to someone. It's better sometimes than the racket that big tech can bring. But like I said, don't discount big tech. There's some items there as well that you can give for mental health. Have yourself a great holiday, and we will see you in 2026. Until then, take care of yourself and take care of each other.